Another assumption we make while arriving at law of supply is the technique of production is unchanged, or there is no change in the technique of production, or technique of production is constant. Yes, in law of supply, we try to establish a relationship between price and quantity supplied. So, the technique of production affects the supply. So, we try to assume that technique of production should remain same. What do you mean by technique of production? The technology. So, if you are using an outdated or old technology, the production will be of a lesser quantity and production cost is high. Therefore, the supply will be relatively less. But if there is a change in the technique of production and new modern advanced technology has been used, which directly affects the reduction in the cost of production, which in turn enhances the profit of a supplier or producer. As the profit of a producer increases, he tends to supply that product more at the same price. So what do we understand? Even if there is no change in the price, if the technique of production has changed, there is a change in the supply happens. So in order to study effect of price on quantity supplied, what do we assume? That technique of production remains constant. There is no change in the technique of production. I can explain this with a nice example of fabric making process. Earlier, I used to make threads using Gandhi charkha and handlooms. So, in a day, I can only make 100 meters of cloth. So, my cost of production was relatively high. But if I change my technique of production from man to machine, my quantity of production increases, my cost of production goes down, automatically my profitability increases, which in turn increases the supply even if the price of the commodity remains same. So what do I assume? In order to see this effect properly, I assume there is no change in the technique applied while manufacturing. So there is no change in technique of manufacturing.